Previously, I thought about how asking questions, the art of asking questions, is a very important skill that you must have given the knowledge economy, especially with the proliferation of artificial intelligence. As any young professional, or it doesn't matter the state of your career, if you really are looking forward to really going far and thriving in the knowledge economy, right? Asking question is a very important time resistant skill that you need to have. Another one is the fundamental art of thinking from first principle. You have to learn to think from first principle. This is another time resistant skill. Time resistance to mean time does not happen to these skills, because at different times, right, the factors of production as we know them will always be redefined. What they mean will always evolve with the times, right? We have land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship, what these four means of production where with the first and second industrial revolution is not the same today in the knowledge economy, and will most likely or definitely not be the same 5 or 10 years from now, because especially given that by 2030 the world will press a reset, right? So you have to begin to cultivate this time resistant skill, one of which, like I said previously, is the art of asking questions. The second one today is the skill of thinking from first principle. It is about seeking to understand and master first principle. Now, what does this mean? You see, your experience of life, right? I want you to take it as data, be it failure, success, and in fact, people are data. The people you meet, your experiences with them is data, right? So to think from first principle or to master first principle thinking, right, is basically telling you to seek to understand things from the first building block. Just as in medicine, if a drug is to be made for a particular disease, let's say COVID, right? What the researchers do is try to understand the virus, the coronavirus, at a cellular level, right? So that is an example of first principle thinking. So you will have several experiences. In fact, this skill is connected to the previous one of asking questions. So you will meet data in different forms, but you have to master the art of thinking from first principle. So how do you do that? Let me give you another example, right, of what it means to think from first principle. Let me use music, something that we all can relate to. There are people that have the talent of singing, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that they understand music and can make music. There is a difference. But if an artist is to be able to make music, they have to master music from first principle, the building block, because you can't even create something from 0 to 1, or in fact innovate from 1 to infinity, without understanding to a reasonable extent first principle. This is about understanding how the thing works, how it is made. And in fact, this was something that as kids people had. It is that thing about, let's say for people, let's say growing up that wanted to be engineers, the engine boys can relate to this, right? You grew up trying to tear things apart with the intent of trying to build it back together. What that does is what the child or the boy or the girl is trying to understand how the thing works from first principle, right? So you need to seek to understand things from the basics. This is important, especially in this generation or this era of cheap knowledge. And anybody can go to ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Grok, whatever, and write a prompt and produce something, right? But in fact, your interaction with the tool, with the LLM, is dependent heavily on your understanding of first principle. So for example, while AI can write the code, the person that knows how to code traditionally will do more with, say, Claude AI than the person that does not know how to. If the person that doesn't know how to will maximize Claude AI, they will need to have a foundational understanding of coding. So it doesn't matter what you are doing or what your career is, right? In that field, seek to understand things from first principle. What this does, right, is it removes any form of myth from your side. It makes things bare. Now you understand how it works. It means you can reproduce it, you can alter it, and you can create your own because you know how it works. When you have this skill, right, there will be no problem, I kid you not, that will be bigger than you. What will be required is just time, because foundationally you understand how the thing works or is supposed to work. And with that knowledge, you can begin to find the solution. Because the first step to even understanding any problem at all, to solving any problem at all, is understanding the problem, right? So it is important that you begin to cultivate the skill, the mentality, firstly, of thinking from first principle. So how do you do this? Always ask the question and seek to find the answer of how things work. How does this work? How is this happening? What is the brain behind this? Meaning, what is the intelligence? And this is even applicable to human relationships. When you see somebody doing something, if you are somebody that thinks from first principle, your first point of call will be trying to understand the intelligence sponsoring that action. Because when you understand the intelligence, then you will know how to navigate whatever is the peculiarity of that action. So go and begin to ask the question, how? How? Understand things from the cellular level, from the nuclear level. When you do, then you can begin to build yours, and in fact, generate or create your own cells. That is the building block, right? So seek to know. When you see something works and it interests you, don't just appreciate it or stop at that. No, or seek to know, seek to understand how it is working, what is making it work. Even just for the fun of it, it will change your life. So cheers and do have a good one. Until the next one.